Assalamu alaikum. The next unit that we were doing was faith, or which is known as Iman in Arabic. And our goal is, this is going to be a long unit, and our goal is we're going to cover it in small parts. So the first part is that to understand what Iman or faith is, and to understand the connection with our thoughts. Now, how are we going to understand this topic is that we're going to discuss a hadith, and we're going to find that what does this hadith tell us about Iman? So what is the definition of faith according to the hadith? And what are the main elements of faith? What are the things that make up faith? And then we will go on and we will understand each part of faith in detail, right? And the reason behind this is because faith is the core of every religion. Your faith or your idea about that religion is the reality of that religion. That is the core of each religion. So the first thing that we discussed was that what is faith? So in order to understand what is faith, the students were required to give their own response towards what is their own understanding about faith. And the other question that we discussed was that how is faith connected to the mind? So first you need to understand what faith is, and then you need to understand that how is faith connected to your mind or your thoughts, right? So we had a long discussion about both of these questions in class. And the connection that the class came up was that faith is basically to trust an idea to be true, right? And what is an idea? An idea or a thought is your understanding of something. Everything around you, there is some sort of understanding that you have in your mind about it. And when you trust that idea, that is known as faith. So when you trust your thoughts about something that are true, that becomes your faith. And how does the mind come up to this decision is that basically information and evidence is given in the surroundings. The mind processes this information and evidence, and the mind comes up with the decision about it, whether it is true or false. Like, for example, fire burns. So we have evidence about this, so our mind agrees with this, and we believe that if anything touches fire, it will burn, right? So your mind makes a decision about it. So this is how the process works, that your mind makes a decision about it, and then you trust that decision. You trust that idea, you trust that thought, and that trust becomes your faith. Then we discussed another question that after going through the point of revelation, Quran and Hadith as being the sources of revelation, the main sources. So we discussed that if we claim that the best meaning of faith comes from Hadith, so how do you support, if you agree with the claim, how do you support the claim? And if you have any questions regarding it, right? So we had a long class discussion regarding this. And after all of these exploratory questions, this is kind of the step down process that we concluded about faith. What is faith in itself? That faith is to think about an idea, to observe proof of an idea, and that belief, after gathering information and evidence regarding it, that belief is called your faith or Iman, right? So in terms of revelation, your proof or evidence comes from the Quran and Hadith. And in the first unit, we've gone through this part in detail, that what is Hadith, what is Quran. So we had a very long discussion about that. So the proof of faith or Iman comes from revelation, that is the Quran and Hadith.